What do you think, Marge? All I need is a title.
Okay.
It's called editing. Learn it, love it, live it.
This may sound a little weird to some of you, but I woke up this morning
Yeah, you waking up this morning sounds weird.
and I looked in the mirror after I did my whole morning routine, wiping the crust away from my eyes and whatnot. I look in the mirror.
How about you make your point already?
And I realized for the first time in my life that I am white.
Oh my God!
And I realized for the first time in my life that I am white. And I realized for the first time in my life that I am white. I am ashamed, to say the least. I'm not proud to be white.
That might be because is there anything more pathetic than a self-hating snowflake? I'd be ashamed of myself too.
I feel like a piece of paper that a little kindergartner just threw in the trash. Well, wait, that would be... okay, I don't consider myself white trash, but...
But you are white trash? Maybe? A little? Maybe?
I feel like an abandoned piece of paper. I have no color. I'm colorless.
And of course you forget that white is a color. White is a color by the exclusion of all other colors, whereas black is a color because it includes all other colors. But white is a color.
Look around, I see a brown man, a black man, a yellow man, a red man.
You are such a racist. You look around and you see all these people and you immediately judge them by the color of their skin. Hasn't any of the SJW, social justice warrior, all-inclusive BS taught you anything?
And it's like, why don't I have color? I mean, I'm colorless and it sucks and I want to, and my only hope at having color is laying in the sun, getting cancer, and then turning orange. And I don't necessarily want to be orange.
But if you were orange, at least you'd be a color. Unlike your current color, which you don't think is a color.
I'm faced with this insane predicament, and I really want to know, why God made me this way. Why?
If God made you, it was because the two people who fucking spawned you were white, and therefore the only genes for your skin color that got passed down were those for white.
Why? It's just insane. I mean, I want color, guys. I mean, seriously, this is not fair. I mean, and plus to add to it, in history, all the white men are idiots.
Shut up!
morons!
Christopher Columbus, you know, comes on the United States, and he takes his, you know, his weapons that are not fair game. The Indians only have bows and arrows, and he is extremely envious because he is a neglected piece of white paper. And
Wow. I've got to stop you because you're doing significant damage to my brain because it's burning that badly with all of the abuse you are doing to history. First, Columbus didn't discover the United States. His first landing was off the island of Hispaniola, which is today's Dominican Republic and Haiti. So far from the United States, actually. And far from being envious of the Indians, the island Indians were not the rich ones. Those were the ones that were the Incas, the Mayans, and the Aztecs. Columbus didn't discover those. He discovered the Indians of the West Indies. You know, those Indians were not very rich. So I doubt that Columbus found himself, you know, in the basket of luxury and riches being envious of the inhabitants.
And the Indians aren't. They have color with them. And so he starts lighting them up with his new machine guns and whatnot.
Oh my. Because Columbus had machine guns. Where the hell did you get your education from? Someone should slap your goddamn teachers.
And he starts raping the women, and he probably the men too, and he's, you know, killing everybody, taking land, because he wishes that he wasn't white.
You have the honor of being the first person that gets to use the second moron clip.
I'm surrounded by morons!
Who else? George Washington. You know, he's like, I wish I was black, so I'm gonna take all these black people, chain them up, and make them do all my work for me because I'm jealous of them.
Yeah, because George Washington was so jealous of the black tribes in Africa who were selling their brethren into the New World, into a life of slavery. Yeah, they had nothing. God, really, dude. I mean, if your history is this bad, I hate to see what your mathematics or your science or your other sciences are like. They should keep you away from any job above burger flipping.
He had about 200 slaves. I've been reading about it in this book, To Be a Slave. It is wonderful. You should read it.
Apparently you didn't, if you came away from it thinking that George Washington was envious of his slaves.
I mean, who else? John Kerry. Do you remember John Kerry? He ran for the election in like 2004, I think, against George Bush. Very long. He looked like he looked like a piece of silly putty that had been stretched out. I can tell just by looking at that guy. He hated people of color.
Yeah, because a gentrified old rich white man needed reasons to hate black people. Yeah, that's it. Hey, since you seem to need an education on racism in America, let me give you one. A slightly more humorous one, but it still makes a lot more sense than the one that you've been peddling.
And of course, the country is founded on the double standard. That's our history. We were founded on a very basic double standard. This country was founded by slave owners who wanted to be free. Am I right? A group of slave owners who wanted to be free. So they killed a lot of white English people in order to continue owning their black African people so they could wipe out the rest of the red Indian people and move west and steal the rest of the land from the brown Mexican people, giving them a place to take off and drop their nuclear weapons on the yellow Japanese people. You know what the motto? You know what the motto of this country ought to be? You give us a color, we'll wipe it out.
Okay, so this video is getting a bit long, so you have one final chance to either bedazzle me with brilliance or baffle me with bullshit. Which one is it gonna be? Your choice.
But, you know, there's some very wonderful... Oh, you know who else is a freaking idiot? Thomas Edison, okay? People, you know, they're all... Oh yeah, Thomas Edison, he created the light bulb. Yeah, wonderful. No, Thomas Edison did not create the light bulb. Actually, I learned from my friend's dad, who is Croatian. He did not. Some other Croatian guy, created the light bulb. And you know, white man Thomas Edison is like, I'm gonna take all the credit for this. What a dick. You know what? I just said a bad word. I apologize. But that is fair game to say the D word. Okay. God forgive me for that.
Well, quite frankly, that's about enough of this one, because there's really not much more to see here. This kid's basically a complete self-hating moron who doesn't even do basic history work and research to find out the backstory behind the things that he thinks he hates. So he presents himself as a self-absorbed, whiny little pussy who hates the skin color that he's in, which is, in a word, pathetic.